In a world full of challenges, there are incredible people making a difference, one cause at a time. KFGO For A Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. KFGO For A Cause shines a spotlight on organizations and individuals dedicated to positive change.
KFGO For A Cause. I'm Amy Iler on It Takes Two with Amy and JJ Monday through Friday, but we've got the Sunday morning thing going on. Neil Van Dam back in studio with us. Neil, this would be technically our second, but it feels like our first because it's official today.
Absolutely, and I'm really excited to have Jill Christopher over here. Jill, I'll let you introduce yourself because I can't say the whole mouthful of words.
Yeah, so I'm Jill Christopher. I'm CEO at Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Red River Valley here in Fargo.
How many Ronald McDonald houses are there across the country?
In the U.S., there's about 175. Around the world, there's 390.
Wow.
Maybe a few more even, but yeah, at least 390.
Maybe give us the backstory of how and when the Ronald McDonald House started here in the Red River Valley. Specifically, you're in Fargo.
Yeah, absolutely. So the house here in Fargo started, it's actually a super great story with a sad start. So there was a mom, her name is Bev, and she had a daughter, Sarah, who passed away from cancer. And following Sarah's passing, was in a grief group with some other moms, working through that process that happens when you lose a child. And they heard about the Ronald McDonald House going up in the Twin Cities. And so they went down to take a look and brought the idea back to Wayne Allard, who was a social worker at what is now Sanford. Not Sanford back then, of course. And he took it and ran with it. And so that was in 1978 that Sarah passed away. And we opened in December of 1982. So they really, and we were the 45th Ronald McDonald House that opened in the world.
I mean, I feel like you're 45. You're kind of one of the first.
Yeah, right. Really way faster than I realized. But it really took, the very first Ronald McDonald House opened in 1974. So they really took off like wildfire. I mean, it really filled a need for families in the hospital. Because what Bev will say, we still talk frequently. And she said, if this would have been there when we were going through Sarah's hospital stay, it would have been amazing. And so she could really see how that could help families in the future.
Yeah, I personally know a lot of folks just through some of the other organizations I've had the pleasure to deal with that have stayed there and how it's changed. And especially locally in Fargo, you've had, I'd call it an expansion, but a whole new building. Can you talk more about when that happened, how that's progressing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we moved into our new location in May of 2018. So we've been there about 6.5 years. It's 24 guest rooms. The really nice part about this is we built it to be a Ronald McDonald House. So the rooms are bigger. They all have their own bathroom, which we did not have previously. We have an elevator, which really helps for families. There's a lot of things you're carrying in. There's a lot of, you might have babies. You might have moms who just gave birth. Like there's a lot of reasons the elevator is really, really nice to have. Just some cool spaces. We were able to add in a game room and a playroom, a really nice kitchen for the families. We have a fully stocked pantry. So the new space is really incredible.
I always hear people when they talk about the Ronald McDonald House, it's like you don't know who the Ronald McDonald House is until you need them or a loved one needs them. And then it seems like, what would our community do without you? We should probably just go to your mission in general because we haven't talked about that. But you're a home for families who have children in the hospital. And not everybody experiences that, but the people that do, your kindness and generosity and your hospitality means the absolute world when they are in what is probably their greatest nightmare.
Absolutely. Really, it is our goal to give them a lot less to worry about so they can focus on what matters most, their sick child. Because that's where you want to put all your energy and all your time. And you don't want to worry about what to have for supper. So we have volunteer groups come in and cook evening meals so they don't have to worry about what to cook for supper. We have family or, volunteers that clean and make sure it's nice and comforting, so all they have to worry about is staying there. There's no cost to stay with us. We work on donations. And so, if a family wanted to make a donation, we would, of course, accept. But the vast majority of families who stay with us donate absolutely nothing, and that's how we like it. We want you not to have to worry about anything but getting your child well.
Yeah. How many people, like, is the Ronald McDonald House full on a typical evening?
Yeah, so usually, 20 to 21 of our rooms are full on any given
That's
night.
pretty full.
Yeah. So this past summer, we were full almost every day, all summer long, which was really crazy. Good, but also hard. Like, you're busting to get everybody in there that you possibly can. We hate to have to make people wait for a spot. But you can stay as long as you need. So we might have a family that stays one night. We've had families who stay months and months and months, depending on what they're there for. So it can be a long haul.
Yeah. The volunteer base that you have is incredible too. And I'm sure that's just because of the work that you do. And once someone gets hooked on the Ronald McDonald House, it's hard to look back. Like, you're kind of hooked on your mission and what you do and the feeling when you're at the house. I know one of your most popular volunteer spots is the cooking of the meals.
It is, yeah. Well, so very generous to say it's our mission. I also think it's this community. I mean, we live in an amazing community where people have hearts for good. And so that part is awesome. But yeah, we have 3 different meal opportunities. So in the morning, volunteers can come in and bake. And so that is really fun. It makes the house smell really, really good. And so that's when bars and cupcakes and all of those goodies get made in the morning. And then over the lunch hour, we have our a la carte program. And that's where our volunteers come in and make grab and go food. So families have things to take with them to the hospital so that, and healthy things, right? We have a lot of prepackaged things that they can take as well, but it's nice to have hard-boiled eggs, yogurt parfaits, things that give them a little protein, a little extra boost to get them through the day at the hospital. And then at night, our volunteers make our evening meal, and that is our most popular. So everything from spaghetti. I would tell you, I don't know what was cooking last night, but it smelled so good when I left. And that's the hard part of working there. It always smells so good in there. But yeah, meatballs, spaghetti, tacos, lasagna. If you can think of it, it's probably been made, and it is delicious.
Well, there's never been a shortage of junk food when I've been there.
No, there is not a shortage of junk food. That's for sure.
Comfort food. We're going to call it comfort food in this case. Yes, you're listening to KFGO For A Cause, brought to you by the Van Dam Financial Group. I'm Amy Iler. We have Neil Van Dam in studio and Jill Christopher, CEO of the Ronald McDonald House here in Fargo. Welcome back to KFGO For A Cause here on Sunday mornings on KFGO. It's a new show in 2025, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. Neil is with me here today, as is Jill Christopher, the CEO of the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Red River Valley. Just a really long way of saying the Ronald McDonald House by the Big Sanford in Fargo.
Correct. Yes.
Neil, you wanted to talk a little bit more about sort of the logistics of the house, because you must know a lot of people who have used this. You've been a volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House. This has been a mission that's been sort of near and dear to you.
Absolutely. So a couple things I think would be good for the listeners to figure out is if you do have someone that's in need of your services, how do you go about signing up for that, or what's the registration process on that? And then for folks and companies that want to come help out, help cook a meal, what can they do to do that? What's the process for that? And then also, we were just talking offline about pop tabs and the different ways that Ronald McDonald goes to save. So if you can...
Absolutely, yeah. So first of all, how families find us, we actually work really closely with our hospital partners. So, with case management and social work and all the different wonderful folks that are hospital partners, they really help us make sure families find us. So you can always go to our website and get more information at rmhcfargo.org. And there's a request a room on there. But a lot of our referrals are straight from the hospital. So we work really closely with them to make sure that families know we're an option at no cost, so they can really figure that out. And then, it's a really short registration process. We just need to know a little bit about the families and how many people they have, so we can make sure we get them into the right room. The majority of our rooms sleep 4 people, but we do have some that sleep 6 as well, and so we can work with them. We have some handicap accessible rooms, so depending on the situation, it helps us figure out how to slot them in. And then when families get to the house, we have a whole orientation that they go through just to figure out what the house looks like, how it works, how their keys work, all of those things.
What's the orientation like? Like, is it a video? I don't even know.
No, it's with one of our staff members.
Oh,
so one of our staff
okay.
members will kind of walk them through.
Like they get a
how
tour.
Things work. Yeah, so they get a tour.
Yeah.
All the families have their own space in the pantry and their own space in the kitchen and our fridge. So they have a fridge space where they can store things that they maybe would buy or make. So we walk through all of those things, how laundry works.
Do they get the password to the secret door?
They do not get the password to the magic room. That remains a secret.
So
but they do get a trip to the magic room. So all the kids that come through get a trip to the magic room, which is our special toy room for kids. And, you know, I always say you have a soft spot for the siblings. It can be hard to be the sibling of a sick child because rightfully so, there's a lot of focus on the child that is sick. And so every child, whether you're the patient or a sibling, gets a trip to the magic room to pick out a toy. And there is a magic word, and it's a one-time use magic word, and it changes. And no, they don't get to find out. When it's their turn, we tell them what the magic word is and the door opens, but then it changes. So they can't open it again until it's their turn again. But that is fun. That's a highlight for everybody.
It was a highlight for me when I toured the Ronald McDonald house. I was like, what?
You know what I love about it is I think sometimes it's more amazing for the adults because kids just believe. They believe in the magic. So for them, they're like, obviously it works because it's magic.
Right.
And I just love that. Like,
I love that perspective.
Yeah. Like they're like, duh. Where we're like, oh my gosh, it really is magic.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So that part's really great. But yeah, and you can be a part of that. We have volunteer, all of the things to stock the magic room with toys. We also have a room called the Petite Boutique, which stocks baby. About 40% of our families are NICU, so premature babies. So we try to stock everything you might need. Diapers, wipes, little preemie baby outfits. So you have a few, because maybe you didn't know you were going to have a preemie. And if you've ever had to shop for them, they're hard to find. There's just not a lot of locations in town that sell preemie baby clothes anymore. You have to order it online, which is not super convenient when your baby is here.
Right.
So we stock all of that, and we have all of that is donated by the community. So if you want to hold a drive to collect things that we need, everything that you need at your house, we need at ours. Toilet paper, paper towels, garbage bags, all of those things. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved that way. All the projects for sorting those things out, helping with the meals, cleaning. There's lots of volunteer opportunities. We have over 1,500 volunteers a year.
Over 1,500 volunteers a year.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
I can't math that fast in my head. Neil, you're a numbers guy. I don't know what that is on average per day, but that's a lot of volunteers.
It's about about five people.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And everything from people who come in every week on the same day. We have some of our regulars that come in for a specific project every day. They might be covering our front desk during our staff meeting or helping with a specific project, or one-time volunteers. We had a great group of students in this morning that were helping clean and organize and just do stuff like that. So it's really fun to see people and a really huge impact on our mission. So I don't have the 2024 numbers yet. We're still calculating those, but for 2023, it was almost 6,000 hours, which is the equivalent of 3 full-time employees, which you think about what you would, the average of what you might pay for a full-time employee. The savings to our mission is amazing.
Incredible.
So that is really fun. And it provides really good opportunities, like you were saying, Neil, for people to connect as a group. So it might be a high school group or a work group, to come in over lunch and make some meals, have some fun, and do good.
Has the Van Dam Financial Group stepped up and made some meals previously?
Yeah, we've gone there. We tried to do
What's your
twice
specialty? What are you cooking? Are you picking the recipe?
No, my team's amazing. I just show up and stir something usually. But burritos was our last meal. I know.
Everybody needs a good sous chef or somebody who can, help with the dishes, things like that, right?
Do they get to make whatever they want when they come in?
They do. Our team will help with maybe like letting them know what's being cooked in the days before.
Sure.
So we don't
Sure.
end up with like lasagna 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
Which did actually happen once, which is why we now have a policy to tell you what we know about what's being made the day before. But the best part about that is the families never told them. In fact, one of the moms was eating it for breakfast. She was like, I love lasagna so much. This has been the best week of my life. She was so happy. So I was like,
So
that
cute.
is really fantastic because I feel really bad.
You know what's so funny is that there are cold lasagna lovers out there. Like people who like pasta cold lasagna, cold pizza.
Yeah.
It confuses me, but I know that they exist.
Yeah.
I know that they exist. Yeah. So you did burritos last time, you said?
Yeah.
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 Nice.
Delicious
Okay.
burritos.
I love that. Okay. Now, Neil mentioned pop tabs.
I know.
And that's something that's near and dear to my heart because it's just easy to do. It's fun. I find them everywhere now.
I know.
They're I think they come out of the grocery bags in my house, like, because every time someone has one, they take it off, but they don't necessarily put it in the place where it's supposed to go. Yeah. So they're just kind of floating everywhere all the time.
When I was saying, like, are you really collecting if you haven't found one in your laundry because
Yes.
you left it in your pocket?
Exactly.
Because you were somewhere and someone gave you one. And,
Yep.
you know, often we joke, our development director, when it was her first week on the job, I said, oh, by the way, people are going to hand you pop tabs sometimes when you're out and about. And she was like, yeah, right. Like, kind of didn't believe me. And within her first week, somebody was like, oh, great, I can give you these now since you work at the Ronald McDonald house. And handed her, a Ziploc bag full of pop tabs from their house. She was like, you weren't kidding. And I was like, nope, you could be anywhere. And someone will be like, oh, they're in my car. Just let me run and get them.
But what does pop tabs mean to the Ronald McDonald house? And why does this symbolize something for you?
This is literally why we brought you here.
Yeah, right?
We need to talk about pop tabs.
So
why do you care?
Yeah. So we recycle them. So that's how we get money from them. So it's just a recycling thing. It was actually started by a child. And so the cool thing is because we're a charity that helps kids that are sick, kids want to help their friends. They want to help the people they know that are sick. And that can be hard to do when you're a kid. You don't always know what you can do to help or make an impact. You maybe don't have a lot of money because you're a kid, right? But you can collect pop tabs, and it's something, you can go to your family and you can hand out, and it's something that's easy to do. And I think it shows everybody that a little thing can make a big impact. So one pop tab doesn't seem like much, and if you recycled that one pop tab, wouldn't add up to even a penny. But if you add it with everybody else, last year we made over $5,000 on pop tabs. And
that's insane.
It's crazy. And
when you think about how many pop tabs it takes to get to $5,000,
that's just Fargo, or is
that's just Fargo? Yeah, just Fargo.
That's a lot of pop tabs.
In fact, it probably ended up close to 6,000. I'd have to look again. But yeah, we have groups that turn in. Well, we just today someone dropped off 88 pounds of pop tabs. So it was like
what does 88 pounds of pop tabs look like?
This came in 3 paper boxes, like where you get the reams of paper. Like
wow.
Paper, and a garbage bag.
I was imagining like Scrooge McDuck opening his
diving in the money. Yes.
I will tell you, we've gotten them in every kind of container you can imagine.
I bet.
So mayonnaise containers, like 20-ounce bottle, like whatever you can imagine, we've gotten them.
How do you prefer them delivered to you, or does it not matter?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Sometimes they're a little bit more challenging to get out of the plastic containers if it's not a wide top, but that's just a little more adventure for our team.
Sure.
And then the cool part is we empty them out of the bags they come in and put them in these plastic totes. And then we have volunteers that come and take those to the recycling center and recycle those. So it works out really, really well, and it's a lot of fun. But probably a couple highlights from the year on that. We do have a gentleman down in Fergus Falls that collects them and collected literally 8 million pop tabs this summer. He's been collecting. That was like a few years of collecting. He didn't just do that in 1 year.
8 million.
And strung them all on aluminum wire so that could all be recycled as well, and took them to the recycling center, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. Like, he has a necklace made out of pop tabs that he wears on Pop Tab Day, and so does the recycling center, and they just had a great old time.
Okay, wait, this was the one that like literally had to be unloaded from like...
Yeah, they brought it in a trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they brought it in a trailer up from Fergus Falls, and it took a couple hours to get them all unloaded, and it was a little hot that day, but we brought everyone water, and we made sure everyone was was safe.
This is amazing.
Yeah. But we have groups from all over. The RMH Ride out in New York Mills, they're a huge collector for us. In DL, the Parrot Heads,
what are the Parrot Heads?
Jimmy Buffett fans.
Oh.
There is a chapter out in the Detroit Lakes area. They're a super fun group. And that is a Parrot Head thing. So they collect them in a lot of the different chapters. And so they're trying to be the chapter that collects the most.
Amazing.
And so they partner. But we have a lot of schools that we partner with. We have little collection houses that you can get that we give away for free, that you can put in your kitchen or by your break room.
Okay, I can't believe that this is the end of the show, but we do have to wrap up. If people want to know more about the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Red River Valley or the Ronald McDonald House in Fargo, how do they get in touch with you? How can they follow along with your story?
Yeah, absolutely. You can check us out online at rmhcfargo.org or give us a call at 701-232-3980.
Sweet, thank you. And Neil, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back next Sunday with an extended conversation with Aaron Prochnow and the YWCA of Cass Clay.